Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Forbidden Land podcast. It is another week. We have an interesting bit of news this week, and I'm going to end the episode with a nice surprise album review. Wow. Just off the top of the show, I will announce further details in the future, but I appeared as a guest on a podcast. It has not come out yet. I will not be saying the name of it either because I think he likes to keep that kind of stuff a surprise. So I am not going to say anything further other than I was a guest. It was a fun time. I will tell you more when it comes out, but I want to do that more. I want to guest star on people's shows more. I want to bring people on here, but it's kind of fun being the guest because you don't have to worry about the production part. You just sit back and you talk, which is not something I really get to do on here. While I'm talking, I have like 5 other things running through my head. Like, is the sound good? Is the recording software actually running? Is the stuff I'm going to pull up on screen actually going to pull up? So it is fun to guest star on other people's podcasts. But that'll come out probably in the next couple months. But maybe we'll collab. Anywho, we have some fun topics. Really, we only have one topic, and then like one aside, and that's it. This week has been very mute in terms of diverse news. Like, it's all been one thing. And it's been this. There was an Iranian strike on a U.S. military base. Now, I've seen a whole lot of hubbub about this strike. It's like one of the few times that they actually retaliate in response to like the 15 attacks the U.S. has done on them. But Iran launched strikes on a military base in Jordan that belongs to the United States. Take a look. Nothing really graphic in this footage, other than there's just like a really up-close explosion. So this happened in Jordan, and initially 2 service members were killed. It seems that number has risen to 4 the last I looked. And I would say it's important to highlight the victims of an attack like this, because it really does show who is suffering at the hands of the Donald Trump crusade against Iran. I mean, who is dying for Trump's war? And we have the 4 victims. A 19-year-old, Isabella Gonzalez, was killed in this attack. She was one of the first victims named. She was killed. She was barely in the military at this point. Had probably just gotten out of training, just deployed out to Jordan. And this is one of the faces that has been sacrificed in Trump's war on Iran. Let's keep going. We have Tyler Fahan of Hawaii, and he was killed in this attack on the base. He enlisted in 2019. He had been in the Army for quite a while, it looks like. And this is another human being who has been thrown to the pit for Trump's war on Iran. That has been essentially, like I said before, sacrificed for the war in Iran. And the Trump administration doesn't care. They don't give a rat's ass. We saw what happened the last time when service members were killed during the Iran war. And we saw that Trump couldn't have honestly cared less. Like, he could not have cared less. Unless this profits him, he doesn't care. Let's keep going. A 28-year-old from New York, Sergeant Angel Rampersad, is also believed to have been killed in the attack on the airbase. Let's see. She was previously listed as missing, and this determination follows the recovery of remains from the attack site. She's been in the military since 2019. Here's another face of someone who was, I really don't have any other way to say this, but just someone who has been murdered by the Trump administration. These people were, I mean, as a leftist, you know my thoughts on the American military. You know my thoughts on us having bases around the world, that I'm not necessarily fond of it. I don't like it. I don't like that we have bases across the planet in virtually every nation. I don't like that we have such a vast military budget. There are lots of things I don't like about the American military. But that doesn't mean that I feel good when service members are killed in a war that we started, that we have poured endless funds into. A war that didn't need to happen. You know, I don't feel good when 4 service members are murdered by the Trump administration. And you might be noticing how I'm not putting the blame on Iran. If your country was attacked unprovoked after decades and decades of propaganda, after even more decades of interference in your government, after all that, that country then attacks you and you strike back, you know, you're really just defending your country. And no one should be surprised that a country like Iran is doing this, is attacking the Gulf states, is attacking the surrounding region, and targeting military bases, U.S.-backed military bases. No one should be surprised by this. You know, you can't poke the bear over and over and over. You can't poke the bear, violate every peace deal you've done with said bear, and then not expect it to swipe at you. To swipe at you in one of your many beehives that are around his cave. I mean, what do you expect? And here's the fourth one, of Fayetteville, North Carolina. Wow, this is close to me. And he was killed at an airbase in Iraq. So he is the fourth victim of this attack. And yeah, like I said, yet another human being that has been thrown away by the Trump administration. These people didn't have to die. These people before February, or before the end of February, were probably thinking to themselves, this will be, you know, a nice relaxed position. I'm going to be on this base. Nothing ever goes on anymore in this area. And I'm sure it's how many service members feel at many bases around the world. People stationed in North Korea probably don't expect like a Chinese invasion or anything like that. In the same way that I would imagine people stationed in the Gulf states probably don't expect that much action, seeing as how we pulled out of Afghanistan a few years ago and that we had no active wars at the time. And now 4 of those people are dead. And on top of that, to add insult to injury, that's not enough for the Trump administration. This war that we have, God, my teeth keep whistling. This war that we have essentially lost like 4 times over at this point. We keep losing it. We keep coming to the table begging for a ceasefire. Our attack dog in the Middle East, Israel, violates that ceasefire. And then we go right back to fighting, wasting more money, lose again, come back to the table, beg for a ceasefire. Israel violates it. We go back to throwing more bombs at them. We get attacked back. We go, oh my God, how unexpected. Gas prices are now $5 a gallon on average. And then we lose the war again and come back to the table. That's how it's been going. Here's footage from inside the base just to show you how much protection these service members have. Next to nothing, by the way. These people have like no protection out here. They're in this office space. They throw on some gear, some of them do. But like, and you can hear the sirens. The whistle is really bad. You can hear the sirens. They go out an emergency exit to head off to this like shed. This shit ain't protecting you, bro. Sorry? This little dinky ass bunker is not gonna protect you. This is the level of protection that the United States Army is awarded. Look, they're all crowding into this little ass shed. What is that gonna do against Iranian missiles? Also, literally, what is the point of a military base if it's not able to be used offensively? Like, you're telling me everybody just went and hid in a shelter? Are there people in the base trying to counteract this attack, or are they all just hunkering down? So,
guys, off the walls if we can.
So the Trump administration is now requesting, specifically the Pentagon is now requesting that Congress give them an additional $70 billion for this war in Iran. They're requesting an additional $70 billion just for the war. And currently the Pentagon budget for the year 2027 is being raised to $1.15 trillion, which has never happened before. It's a historic level of money being sent over to the Pentagon. And one must ask themselves, so we don't have money for universal health care or universal college? We don't have money for that? We don't have money for high-speed rail? But we have money for a $1.15 trillion military budget. That's ridiculous. And you might think like, oh, clearly there are members of the House that would shoot something like this down. Oh yeah, here's the aftermath of the Jordan base. You would think the House would put a stop to this. Well, if all of the Democrats had voted no on this, then yeah, the bill, and if like the one independent also voted no, then yeah, the bill would have failed the House by a slim margin and would have gone back to the drawing table. And the worst part about this funding bill is that the merge between the Israeli military and our military was included in said bill. That we will now be sharing intelligence and sharing weapons supply chains with Israel. 6 Democrats in the House voted in favor of this bill. Tell me that the Republican and Democratic parties are not just two sides of the same coin. I want you to look me in the eyes and tell me that they are not just two sides of the same fucking coin. Tell me, man. Dude, 6 Democrats and an independent, whatever. 6 Democrats voted yes on the $1.15 trillion military spending bill with the Israel can have access to whatever they want part of the package included. What the fuck are we doing? What the fuck? And why aren't liberals waking up to this? Why aren't liberals looking at that and going, oh, that's actually really bad? Oh, that extra $150 billion y'all just added to the military budget for the next fiscal year. Where is that money? Like, no one's asking where that money's coming from or why that money couldn't have been used on social safety nets this whole time. The American people just hear the bullshit lie about, oh, we can't afford universal health care in this country, but we can afford to add an extra $200 billion to the military budget every year. I mean, what the fuck? Do people just not think about this? Yeah, the bill passed the House by 4 votes. Could have easily been stopped by the Democrats if they voted as a whole. One of the Republicans that voted no was Thomas Massie, obviously. Who the fuck else would it be at this point? It's always going to be Thomas Massie. But yeah, this bill's disgusting. I hope it dies in the Senate. I don't think it will, because I think Chuck Schumer is gonna rise up and be like, folks, let me tell you, this bill, we will win. I gotta get in a character. This bill is wrong. We should be sending $25 billion more dollars to the American military for this war. And that's why I'm selecting 6 random Senate Democrats who are not up for re-election to vote yes on this bill. But just know I will be demanding more money next year. Give me a fucking break, bro. Chuck Schumer's gonna fucking push that shit through the Senate. He's the real majority leader in this sense. That Thune guy, John Thune or whatever his name is, that guy, he doesn't do jack shit. He can't keep his party in line. Chuck Schumer, though, goes, oh, y'all want to get rid of the filibuster on a pro-Israel bill? I got you. Pulls up his list of top 10 AIPAC recipients. Yep, that's who I'm going to pick to vote yes on this bill. Holy fucking hell, man. That's ridiculous. We're burning so much money. So much money on this stupid fucking war. Ugh. Ugh, and liberals just don't care. Liberals just don't care. I can't wait to get drone striked by an Alabama-based weapons factory that Israel owns. Think about how many people have died needlessly because of this administration. I mean, we really are Israel's puppet at this point. I don't think we have much control over Israel anymore. If we probably do, but we don't. You know what I mean? Like, AIPAC obviously serves a significant role, but in the absence of AIPAC, if we told Israel to stop, would they even stop? Like, think about it. They're a nuclear-armed nation. Other world powers have discussed shopping around them to see if they can be the next sugar daddy for Israel. How much power do we really have over our rogue state in the Middle East? In some somewhat reassuring news, oh God, somewhat reassuring news, here is America's mayor, wish he could be the president, best politician of all time. Here's Zoran Mamdani making a bold statement about Netanyahu, and about his possible visit to New York City.
Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal, the architect of a horrific genocide against the Palestinian people. He is responsible for the killing of more than 73,000 people, for the maiming of tens of thousands of children as those who survive undergo amputation without anesthesia, for the targeting of neonatal hospitals and maternity care centers, denying newborns even the chance to live, for the countless people he starved as he blocked food and humanitarian aid from reaching them, for the gunning down of hundreds of aid workers and journalists. And just last month, the UN confirmed that Palestinian children continue to be deliberately targeted and killed by Israeli armed forces, more than 8 months after the so-called ceasefire. The list goes on and on, all as we, as Americans, pay for the bombs that do the killing. There is a reason the International Criminal Court issued a warrant for his arrest. As human beings, we have spent generations building a shared understanding that there are crimes so grave they offend all of humanity. Anyone, with their eyes, with their heart, with their conscience, should recognize the devastation he has wrought and understand that he belongs before a court of law. As I've said, I agree with the ICC that Benjamin Netanyahu should be arrested and tried for his crimes, as I do for anyone else charged by the ICC. My administration has reviewed every avenue available under applicable law to determine whether New York City could execute the International Criminal Court's arrest warrant if Benjamin Netanyahu came here. It is clear that we do not have the independent legal authority to enforce this warrant. The federal government, however, does, and I call on them to join the ICC and execute this warrant.
I've heard a lot of people that are really disappointed in this, by the way, the whole he ran on being able to arrest Netanyahu, and now he can't do it. I think everybody knew that the mayor of a city didn't have the jurisdiction to enforce an international arrest warrant from the ICC, especially being in a country that didn't even sign the treaty to adhere to the ICC rulings, and even has a law on the books to invade The Hague if there's ever arrest warrants launched against the U.S. or its allies, which clearly we're not doing that since Netanyahu is one of our allies. But I would say this message is far more effective than trying to use the NYPD to trump up a charge to somehow get Netanyahu to the ICC. I would say this does a lot more work because it sets the foundation. It shows where Zoran Mamdani, also damn his hair, bro. It shows where Mamdani stands on this issue, pretty boldly. It's bold for a major American politician to take this stance. He's one of the most popular, if not the most popular figure in the Democratic Party, aside from maybe AOC right now. And it kind of sets the stage. It sets the litmus test. Will Democrats running for federal office commit to a promise to arrest Benjamin Netanyahu? And I think if they do commit to a promise to do something like that, then it will, one, gain them a lot of support amongst the anti-Israel crowd, the people who want to see Netanyahu go to the ICC and be tried for his crimes. But I think it sets the path, right? It's basically I'm willing to say this out loud, so hopefully this inspires more of you to also say it out loud. It also puts the federal government in a pickle because now all the anti-Israel Republicans are going to look at Trump and be like, hey now, why don't you arrest Benjamin Netanyahu? Are you just captured by Israel? And those guys are not going to be really nice about that towards the Trump admin. I've also heard a lot of people say that due to this speech, they didn't even know before this that there was an ICC warrant. Holy shit. Damn. A lot of people didn't even know there was an ICC warrant prior to this speech, apparently, and that this speech actually shed a lot of light on there being an ICC warrant out for Benjamin Netanyahu. I would say that's pretty that's pretty effective to me. The mayor of one of the most powerful cities on earth shedding awareness on this and declaring that if it was up to him, he'd arrest Netanyahu on sight. That's a pretty good message to send, even though the NYPD obviously can't do it, because they don't have the laws or the jurisdiction to do so. This message alone sends a powerful signal to other factions of power.
And I want to be equally clear. Benjamin Netanyahu is not welcome in New York City.
This
nor
is
is
also
any
really
other war
good.
criminal at large. While we cannot end the genocide on our own, we can decide whether our silence will become
This is
another
actually
weapon,
very historic.
and we can examine every tool we have to defend the humanity and dignity of all people. That is my commitment to you.
That's actually historic because historically, the New York City mayor has welcomed the Prime Minister of Israel with open arms every time they visit. So this would probably, I think, be the first time ever that a mayor, I mean, he's already the first mayor to not attend the Israel Day Parade or whatever it was, but it'll be historic for him to just not welcome the Prime Minister of Israel to New York. And what the fuck business does Netanyahu have constantly visiting the United States like this? Like, what's up with that? What authority, man? He comes to New York, he's like, "Hello, everybody, I'm here to make my case for blowing up more children in Lebanon." And the people of New York are supposed to be like, yay. I mean, what's the fucking point of him visiting New York? I know people will say like it's because there's a large Jewish population in New York. I think the recent primary just showed that a lot of Jewish Americans don't fuck with Israel like that anymore. Like, look at the congressional district that I think said, like, by percentage has the most Jewish Americans of any other district. The one that Dan Goldman represents, they just booted Dan Goldman's ass out. That dude is a prominent Democrat. He's pro-Israel. He was like the leader of the Trump impeachment trial against Trump for the Democratic Party. They booted his ass for a progressive, I don't know. He calls himself a liberal Zionist, but I would say he's not even close. A progressive who does not support the state of Israel like that. They just voted for Brad Lander. He's endorsed by Mom Donnie. He thinks Israel's committing a genocide. I mean, look at that. Clearly, New York, Jewish New Yorkers don't fuck with Israel like that anymore. So I don't even know what he's still going there for. Nobody likes you, bro. Get the fuck out of town. What are you doing there? Blood came for a visit, and he's nobody fucking wants him there. Speaking of Israelis and the Israeli lobby, let's take a look at this fucking horseshit, bro. The Abdul al-Sayed campaign in Michigan seems to be going fairly well. I'm obviously always going to be nervous about the polls for that. But I really want al-Sayed to win. Super progressive politician. Represents a lot of my worldview. And just a very vital figure to have in the Senate. He's running against AIPAC Haley Stevens. And, you know, what gives, you know, whatever. And her campaign is maliciously, oh my God, her campaign is maliciously doctoring these emails and like press releases, like pretending to be the Abdul for U.S. Senate campaign, pretending to be Abdul al-Sayed and saying that Mike Rogers, the Republican opponent in this race, has actually openly endorsed al-Sayed to try to hurt his electoral chances in the primary. This is so disgusting. Should be illegal. This is fighting blatantly dirty. It's not enough that AIPAC has given Haley Stevens over $30 million. She keeps running attack ads, keeps releasing ads saying that al-Sayed is like a woman hater because he disagreed with women in the past. Just disgustingly attacking him. You know, the what gives clip that comes from her being like, how did you make your money? He's Dr. Abdul al-Sayed. How do you think a doctor made his money? That's what she keeps saying. Meanwhile, to cover up the fact that she has made like $30 million off the Israeli lobby. And not just J Street, by the way, the liberal Zionist lobby. That's like kind of a fence sitter on Israel. No, we're talking about AIPAC, like the full send 'em, like full on Israeli lobby. Like these are the guys that unequivocally support Israel, and they donate millions to the Haley Stevens campaign. And yeah, she has the audacity to release this fake ad to pretend to be Abdul Sayed. People that look at this at a first glance would probably really think that this is one of his campaign ads. I mean, what the hell? I think it's gross. I think it's unethical. I think we've crossed ethical boundaries with election ethics for a while now. Like, I think it's been pretty clear ever since Citizens United, at the very least, that candidates are not following the ethical guidelines of running a clean campaign. I mean, or throughout all of American history, that has been far from the case. It is a recent liberal ideal that people are fair and nice to each other in campaigns during presidential or election cycles or during Senate campaigns or anything like that. That is just a thing that's existed for the last like 80 years or so. But like in modern times, yeah, this is disgusting. This is unethical. This is like on the same level as those AI ads. You know, like the one of like John Ossoff, or the ones that the really like bad ones that they made of Mamdani, where you could really tell it's not him. But like the one with Ossoff, I mean, that one, even the recent one that came out where it was discovered through exit polling that Republican voters in Kentucky thought the Thomas Massey hanging out with Ilhan Omar ad was real, and they didn't think it was AI. I mean, even that's a good example of like, yeah, this should be illegal. It should be illegal to pretend to be your opponent. That's fraud at that point. To pretend to be your opponent in the race, run ads like you're your opponent to try to make them look bad. And this guy just came out and said, Al Sayed just came out and said that he doesn't agree with people attacking Haley Stevens for petty, like things like attacking her appearance or attacking how she sounds or her mannerisms or anything like that. He just came out and defended her ass, and here she goes running a fake ad campaign over email, pretending to be him. Fucking ridiculous. Ow, it kicked back and hit me in the face. Yeah, I think this is gross. And let me be the first to say, I'm probably not the first to say, Haley Stevens and her mannerisms and all that would actually be pretty endearing. You know, like that's like a Michigan level accent and level of mannerisms that I've never seen before. And it would be endearing if she wasn't such a right-wing shill. Because she's such a right-wing, annoying, reactionary shill for AIPAC, her mannerisms are just annoying. Her like whole demeanor is just annoying as hell. Like, if she was on our side, I'd be like, oh, you know, this is adorable. Like, she's clearly from Michigan. This is awesome. But because she's like using those same mannerisms and voice to be like, oh, we should bomb a school in Iran. Like, yeah, I don't fuck with that. I do not enjoy that at all. I don't know why that sounded like Marge, by the way. Homer, they just blew up a school in Iran. Homer. What do you think about that, Homer? Marge. I can't do a very good Homer. I probably could if I thought about it long enough. Anyway, political part of the episode. I peeked the mic. Political part of the episode over. So if you like politics, leave. I'm just kidding. But I am done with the political part. I wanted to do something I haven't done in a long time, which is an album review. Yes. Albums are coming out again, folks, and I like them. This album is actually very special to me. I talked about the song "Gifted Every Strength" last year, as it was like my top 5. In my top 5 of songs, I think it was actually my number 1 song of the year, if I remember right. I'm not gonna verify that. If I wanted to verify it, I should have written it down before I hit record. But that song was then, a year later, being pushed as going to be on an album released by Loathe. An album that they haven't released an album since The Things That They Believe, which you could argue isn't even really an album from them because it's like an ambient kind of track list, and it's nice. I like it, but it's not like their usual stuff. It feels like a side project. But so this is like their first album since February 2020, and it's obviously like not their first song. Like they made a single in 2022, that not a lot of people have really heard, I guess. But yeah, Gifted Every Strength was like a nice comeback, and then we waited a whole year for an album announcement. We got Revenant, which I like the beginning of Revenant. That's beautiful. That's like one of the best things I've ever heard is the beginning of that song. Where it's like the, there's like really beautiful guitar sounds that they have in that. I think that's what it is. It almost sounds like heavenly. But I didn't really fuck with the song. I had to listen to it a lot to like it. So it's all right. And then Fangs came out, and I was like, I could see the vision, but I had a feeling that the songs would sound better as a collection of music, like as a full blown project. And so I didn't really judge it too much. I wanted to wait for the album to actually come out to judge those songs. And the album's out. It came out on Friday. I did listen to a couple of the songs a day early. Call me Australian. Booked my digital ticket to Australia. But yeah, I really enjoyed this album, actually. This is definitely like a top 5 album for me for this year. I really enjoyed it. I think the songs go really well together. Revenant's transition from the intermission track with the Arabic title, transitioning into Revenant, makes it so much better. And then the transition from Revenant to the way it breaks, oh my god. That's perfect. That made the song so much better for me. And yet, when I go through my list of how I ranked the songs on this album, it's still going to be kind of low because all the songs on this album were so good. Gifted Every Strength is still my favorite song on this album. Which, I mean, come on, guys. It's a 6.5 minute long, like crazy roller coaster of music. And on the album, they actually added an extra 1.5 minutes of like acoustic, which I'm fine with. It took me a minute to get used to it, but I'm fine with it. But Gifted Every Strength is definitely my favorite song. My favorite non-album song, though, that's like or not non-album song. My favorite non-single song that's unique to this album has to be Fortress Down. Fortress Down sounds like screaming from I Let It In and It Took Everything. I love that song. It's quick. It's clean. And the lyrics are great, and the way that his voice carries those lyrics are great. And there's like one line in the second half of the song. I have to pull this up. Give me them lyrics. Sorry, I probably just blew out the speakers. In the second half of the song, when he sings, I don't know where I went wrong. After, he says, facing this alone, I don't know where I went wrong. The way that he sings that part, perfect. Love that. That's like my favorite part of the song is when those lines come out of his mouth. And then the like even beyond that part, the whole rest of the song after that is great. I love that whole song. That song's awesome. I've definitely listened to it like 30 times at this point. When I get my Wrapped at the end of the year, it's gonna be on the top probably. I had some notes that I wrote down. There's no way I was gonna remember all of this off the dome. I do think that this album sounds like a combination of their last two. The ambient one, the things that they believe, or the things they believe, and I Let It In, It Took Everything. It sounds like those two albums merged into one piece with additional new elements added to it. Like, this album feels like a culmination of the style they had on I Let It In, new elements introduced, and then the things they believe, ambient elements all combined into one. And it's awesome. I love the like the solo on The Way It Breaks, the Ladder, the like really chill song that sounds nothing like the rest of the album. I love that song. The end of that song, like the second, or I guess like the last minute and a half, when it's like he's just repeating the same two lines over and over. That part reminds me so much of One More Hour by Tame Impala. How that song ends. Where he just keeps repeating the same lines, and it kind of has like the same like phaser effects and all of that. It follows the same kind of beats. I love that. It reminded me so much of the Slow Rush, and in a good way. I really like this new trend because Thornhill did it too last year, where they just include one song on their album that completely bends whatever genre they were going for in the other songs. I gotta breathe. Goddamn. And just like picks a whole new genre for itself to go down. That was Crush on Bodies by Thornhill, where it was like out of nowhere going from this really heavy song to like this little like contained like R&B style track with a lot of electronic elements. Same thing with this album where the Ladder comes in and it's like this nice little indie kind of psych pop sound that gets kind of trippy by the end. I like that. I like that a lot. And I think that's the song that leads into Gifted Every Strength, which is such a whiplash of tonal shift to go from that to like this crazy ass, like variety time signature, like heavy ass metal song. That's such a crazy transition. I had some notes like Fortress Down sounds like screaming. No Stranger to You, which is the last song on the album, sounds a lot like Two-Way Mirror. Not even really sounds like it, just really reminds me of Two-Way Mirror from the first album. Shouldn't even say the first album because it's not their first album. From the last album. The Static Dress song is definitely in my top 3 on this album. That song just comes out of the gate and fucking blows it out of the water. I mean, that song got me so hyped for the rest of the album. I liked all the interlude tracks. I didn't include them on my ranking because the interlude tracks are less like songs and more like spoken word. I know that the Knife one isn't really like that. It has some singing, but it just didn't have enough to it for me to include as like a whole song. And then the other two are just like spoken word tracks and clearly just meant to be transition / like slowdowns, which is fine. I'm fine with those being on albums. I just didn't think it was enough to be included on the full ranking, especially because there's already so many songs on this album. I just wanted to keep the rank nice and clean. I did have one negative thing to say about the album. And this is such an audio engineer head thing to say from me. I found myself turning up the volume on the stuff I was listening to it on way too high. The master on this album is too quiet in the first half. The second half is fine. Weirdly enough, the second half of the album sounds fine. It's up to normal levels. It's the first half of the album that feels like it's not, like whoever mastered it didn't carry it enough to the ceiling. And I find myself like in my car having to bump my volume up well past what I'm used to. And I know it's not just me. Like, I know it's not just like my car. My AirPods, I'm having to do the same thing. And then when I queue up other songs in between those songs that are separate from the album, I get like fucking pelted immediately. Like, I go from a block of flats to like a Thornhill song, and it just bust my eardrums. So I think the master might be a little too quiet on the first half of the album. But that's like my only critique. If that's my only critique, this album's pretty fucking good. I gotta say, this album's pretty damn good if that's my only note about stuff I didn't like about it. I guess I could say that I'm not a big fan of the album cover, and I've heard that's a very common sentiment amongst people that have listened to this album, that they don't like the album cover very much. I mean, I'm not a big fan of it. I think it could have been a little better in terms of, like, if you compare it to like all their old album covers. I liked the theme they were going for with those. But it's fine. It doesn't like ruin the album, obviously. I don't mind it. I'm sure it'll be like a classic album cover to all of us in a couple years, but yeah, like just off the jump, when I saw that the Revenant single cover was also going to be the album cover for this album, I was a little like about it, but I'm fine with it. So here's my official ranking. Gifted Every Strength is clearly number one. That song has so much going on in it. Way too crazy of a fucking song. It's just so creative, and I've re-listened to it a billion times. I think it was even like my number one most listened to song last year. If I remember right. It might have been like in the top 3 at least. That song is number 1. Fortress Down, number 2. I've already said why. Block of Flats, number 3. That song is just so good. And it really blends the Loathe and Static Dress styles so well. And so I like that song a lot. Take a breather here. Jesus. Tell I'm passionate about this. I'm yapping my way all the way to my brain exploding. Number 4 is The Way It Breaks. I just really like the way that song feels. The atmosphere in it. Like, the environment of the song just really fills the entire space for you. Like, fills your head. It kind of takes you on almost like a ride, I guess. I was laying in bed when that song came on, and I was like, oh my God. Album of the fucking year, folks. Like, that's immediately what I thought when that song came on. So loved that song. The Ladder was really good. That's my next one, number 5. Love The Ladder. I just really like the way that it fizzles out at the end with that Tame Impala vibe. Number 6 is No Stranger to You. There's just something about that song. Even on like my 9th re-listen today, like on my way home, I got goosebumps from the end of the song. Because it's just the way they end the song. It's such a perfect closer for an album, and the way his voice sings out those last 2 lines. Oh, that song's so good. Number 7 has to be Harder to Pretend. I like Harder to Pretend, and I like that little like jazz number they almost do in the latter half of the song. I like the little, the little beat they go with, and the little like jazzy vibe they have to it. But like it's not ranked higher just because I feel like the chorus is a little repetitive, but other than that, I really like that song. Fangs is next. Fangs, I like it, but I don't fuck with it like I do the rest of the album. Revenant's after that. I like Revenant. It's just there's like a part of it that I'm not a big fan of, and it's the like crazy out of control blast beats. Let me just play it. Fuck it. If I get like a copyright claim on this, I don't care. If I have to cut this out, whatever, so be it. But it's like the crazy ass like blast beating Let me see if I can find it without playing the whole ass song. It's not that part. This part. I'm just not a big fan of that part. Like, it gets good after a little bit of that happening, but I'm just like, all right, we could have cooled it down a little bit on that part. That's the only reason I didn't really like that song very much when it first came out. I've grown more fond of the rest of the song, the other parts of the song that aren't that. But, you know, it's just not my favorite thing to listen to. Like, I really liked it on other songs. It's just like that one. Next is Meet My Maker. That song's alright. It's not very memorable to me. I'm sure it'll grow on me because I do this thing where I exhaust the hell out of parts of albums that I like, and then I go, well, I have nothing else to listen to, so I'm sick of listening to this. Let me give the other parts of the album a try. I'm sure Meet My Maker will grow on me a little bit more. I'm not super into it right now. Gemini is the last one. Gemini is not a bad song. Just because it's at the bottom doesn't mean it's bad. I would say that song is really good. I personally don't enjoy it like I do the other songs. I'm already not a big fan of really hard-ass metal, like screaming hard-ass metal. I like it in moderation. That song, although I find that like house beat at the end, that like really hard-ass blast beat at the end, not even really a blast beat. It's just like a really hard-ass beat at the end. Although I really like that, the journey I have to take to get to that point, I have to let it grow on me. Like, I don't really enjoy a whole lot of really hard-ass screamo type of songs. And that's just me personally. This whole ranking is just my personal opinion. It's not how I objectively feel about the songs. Objectively, I think the whole album is great. It's just like subjectively, that's my thoughts on each song and what personal enjoyment I got out of it. You might be wondering, like, well, what about I Let It In? There's a lot of heavy metal parts on that album. And you're right, there are. And there are parts of that album that I don't really listen to that much because I'm not a big fan of them personally. But I agree that they are good songs. They wouldn't have, Aggressive Evolution wouldn't have 18 million listens if it wasn't a good song. It's a good song. Personally, I don't listen to it that much. I'm more of a sad cartoon kind of guy, or, you know, a screaming kind of guy, or New Faces in the Dark is also pretty good, which that song has a lot of hard parts, but it balances it really well. I'm more of a theme kind of guy, or I Let It In and It Took Everything, you know, the last song kind of guy. I'm more of that kind of dude. I like those songs. But that doesn't mean that I necessarily hate the other songs. I just don't want to listen to them. All right, so what would I rank this album overall? I would say that this album is a 8 out of 10. It's not like perfect, but it's pretty damn good. I can't think of too many albums that cross the 8 into like 9 or 10 territory. I really can't think of too many albums that cross into that territory for me personally. And keep in mind that ranking is how I personally rank it. That doesn't mean that it, you know, is a bad album. That's just how I personally rank it. So, you know, if you consider it a 10 out of 10, that's your opinion. I'm just saying I consider it an 8 out of 10 because of what I think of as a 10 out of 10 is wildly different from you probably. And if I said what I consider a 10 out of 10 album to be, you'd probably like punch your monitor or something. An example of a 10 out of 10 album for me, probably Currents by Tame Impala, Koi no Yoken by Deftones. I would consider those albums 10 out of 10s for me. what else would I consider a 10 out of 10? There's definitely a handful. It just takes a lot to get me to rank something that high, if that makes sense. Let's see. I would say Private Music by Deftones is like a 9 out of 10. All because there's one song on there that I don't really like very much. Bodies is a 10 out of 10 by Thornhill. That album's a 10 out of 10. I would say Slide by George Clanton is a 9 out of 10. So there's a lot of albums I would consider 9 and 10s. This album I would say is an 8. And honestly, it probably could inch up to a 9 over time. The more I listen to it, the better it gets. If I had ranked this like the night I listened to it, I probably would have said like a light 8. I would say this is a heavy ass 8, light 9, if I would go on the Fantano scale, and that this will probably be a 9 by the time the year's up. I'll probably consider it a 9 out of 10 by the time like December rolls around. Once I've listened to it 50 times over for each song and dissected it in every way, shape, or form and watched every reaction video to it, I'm sure it'll be a 9 by that point. Anyway, that's it for this episode. Not a whole lot that happened this week. And I got to talk about my album review. Pretty nice. I don't get to do that much anymore because I mostly just talk about the news. Keep yourself posted on when I appear on that mystery podcast. I'll give more details when that's actually come out. I have like some tier list episodes I want to make when I have time. Let's see. I have two episodes that I could do tier list on. I have a couple Georgia election videos I'm going to start working on closer to like the end of August, beginning of September. And then after that, the only other Georgia election video will be the probably the live episode I do for the actual election. And then probably the runoff as well. That'll probably be the last episode I make about it. And then I will shut my pretty little mouth until the until the Georgia primary for the presidential election rolls around. So like a year after that, after the last episode. Anyway, if you want to support this podcast, you can go to patreon.com/forbiddenlandpod. You can support us financially if you want. You can watch bonus episodes that are old at this point. You can sometimes listen to this podcast early. Typically, whenever I export the audio file for these, I'll just throw them up on Patreon immediately. So sometimes they come out a night or two early, depending on when I record it. If it's a serious topic, I release it at the same time because I don't want to sell a serious topic on the Patreon. Go support your local DSA chapter. Donate to a political campaign that you agree with. Participate in local politics, people. That's my message for this week. Participate in local politics. Make a change where you are, and that change will ripple and reverberate across the region and eventually nationwide, which will lead to real, actual change. Just remember that, folks. You can listen to this podcast audio only. Go to like Apple Podcast or Spotify, I guess, or really any podcasting app. If we're not on it, you can add the feed. But we're probably on most of the big ones at this point. The only one I could never get on was Google Podcasts, damn it. And I will never forget that. And now it's dead, and it's been replaced by YouTube Music, and I'm fucking pissed. So, yeah. Go check us out on audio platforms. If you can, you could probably pull us up on your Samsung smart fridge. So you should attempt that and tweet me a picture to the @DaneMakesMusic Twitter account that you were able to successfully do that. Please. I want to know if it's possible. Especially if you can watch the video version of this on there. That'd be even fucking crazier. If you can watch YouTube on there. Damn. All right. I've dragged it on long enough. Have a good week. Have a good weekend. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Peace.